Buzz in a fairy tale, I'm sure you know it, but these days this is the name given to somebody who harasses people anonymously online.
Internet trolls are increasingly being forced out of hiding, though. Just this week, a woman from Brighton won a landmark ruling forcing Facebook to hand over details of her cyberbullies. So, has the fight back against trolls begun? Well, Isabel Fay, who was a victim of bullying, didn't hold back when making a video in response to internet abuse. We can take a look at an edited version of it.
Well, hello, friend, Mr. Insightful. Thank you for your comments on my little YouTube clip. I love the way you don't upload things. You know we'd be too dazzled by your cinematic vision. Aggressive, racist, homophobic, misogynistic, cowardly, illiterate, waste of human skin. But I say thank you, beautiful stranger.
That's Isabel Fay in some of her video, which we have to say, Isabel, we did have to edit a bit out because some of it is quite tasty. As you repeat some of the things that were said to you online. We also have David Banks, who's a media lawyer, with us here as well. Welcome. Isabel, just explain first of all why you felt moved to make the video then.
I've received quite a lot of trolling. I've been making comedy videos for about 4 years now and posting them online. And I made the most whimsical sketch about Easter and someone wrote something horrendous on it. It's the first thing you see in my film. I obviously can't repeat it here. No. And they say don't feed the trolls, don't respond. But I thought if there is a way to respond, it's to do it epically in song and dance. So that's what I've done.
You also were forced to close your Facebook page, weren't you?
I was, yes.
That's pretty drastic action. It must have been pretty bad stuff you were receiving.
Yes, I was receiving repeated messages from someone, again, saying something that I can't repeat on Breakfast News.
Well, David, someone has managed to force Facebook to give them details of the internet trolls, the bullies. Could Isabel have done this? Is it easy enough to do?
Well, it's not easy, but it is possible. I mean, you can go to the courts and the courts can, in certain circumstances, issue what's called a Norwich Pharmacal order, ordering the organisation to give up the details of whoever it is that's posted this information. But you have to go to the courts to get the order, and then you have to serve the order, sometimes in the USA, which is where Facebook was based. So it's possible, but it takes quite a lot of effort and time.
And quite a lot of expense as well, absolutely. I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
Is the easiest thing just to steer clear of social media? Is that?
Well, I'd hate to encourage people to do that because, I mean, lots of things on social media are, fantastic. I mean, you've seen the videos and things like that. And so it would be a shame if people did. But, some people are giving up social media. They're going off Facebook, they're going off Twitter because of the levels of abuse they receive. And they take a break from it to try and to break the cycle of abuse. And
trolling, basically bullying, offensive use of language through social media. I mean, you've got a Twitter account as well.
Yes.
Even since you were on between 6 and 7,
yes,
you've had lots of supportive comments from many people, but equally a lot of very abusive things, even in the last couple of hours.
But there's a difference, isn't there, between criticism and abuse? It's how you draw the line, isn't it?
I'm very keen to make that distinction, and I expect criticism. If you put yourself out there as a creative artist, you expect criticism, and I absolutely expect it. I've got a string of reviews that are not very nice, and I'm fine with them. I also got some good ones. But
how easy, David, is it to trace people who maybe indulge in this practice? How easy is it to find out who they are?
Well, I think it might be easier than they think it is. I mean, they might have set up an anonymous account, but there's all sorts of ways of actually tracing the computer they're using. So there's lots of technical ways of tracking people down. It's very hard to do something completely anonymously. You might be anonymous when you're actually posting on Twitter, but you can, when the order's given by the court, you can be tracked down.
And what sort of sanction can be brought against somebody?
Well, there's various laws. There's the Malicious Communications Act, Protection from Harassment Act. These are criminal laws which can result in heavy fines and prison sentences for anyone who's actually tracked down and brought before the courts.
Has this court case, do you think, made it possible now for people to think, actually, I will take action? Do you expect to see more action?
I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there's other people out there who will see the headlines on this case. They'll see what this woman has done with Facebook, and they'll think, right, I'm going to do this now. It gives people the encouragement to actually take action.
Well, it's not only Isabel who's been reacting, because you managed to get some famous faces on your video as well. We can take a look because it's quite funny.
You said, Dawn Porter, you make me ashamed to be a woman. Thanks.
You said, I'm not funny and I never will be.
You said, does Helen Leder remind you of Miss Piggy? Oh, thank you.
They're just a fraction of the famous people who've come out over the months and years.
And those are probably the only ones you could show as well.
Right, OK. How do you deal with it as a human being?
Well, you have to be quite thick-skinned to be... I mean, it's slightly different for me because I am putting myself out there as a comedian. I'm expecting some level of criticism. When it becomes abusive, you know, when there's sexual aggression, which is the most common thing that I get, initially I found it really hard to deal with, but you have to start shrugging it off and just... that's why I made this film. In a sort of when life gives you lemons, make lemonade way.
It's a good attitude, that, Isabel. David, whose responsibility is it to take control of this? Because it shouldn't be left to people like Isabel to fight back, should it?
No. You know, in messages where there's sexual aggression, you know, a sexual threat, then certainly the police should be taking these things up and take some action, and they have.
But what about the owners of the social media sites themselves, Twitters, Facebooks, just to name a couple of the most popular ones?
I think they bear a responsibility once they're made aware of content, and they should remove content like that and take action against people who are posting these sorts of messages. But it's difficult for them to proactively police every message. You know, there's millions of tweets being tweeted every minute. Likewise on Facebook, you know, millions of messages and the number of users. It's impossible to vet every message, and nor would we want them to. But I think once they're made aware of abuse, then they certainly should take action to remove it and take action against those who are posting it.
Fascinating, isn't it? Really, really interesting.
Some freedom of speech issues as well, which I would be keen to protect, actually. So.
It's definitely something we're going to talk about. Thanks very much, Isabel and David.
Thank you.
Really interesting. Right, coming up in the next few minutes, Robbie Savage will be here to talk